I am so excited today because I'm here with a very important person and a great friend of mine for over 40 years. It's the owner of Kupa, Mr. Richard Herder. So welcome. Thank you for coming to Nailathon.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm so glad to be here and be invited.
Fun.
It's absolutely great because I feel like I've been part of CND for those 40 years in an extended way.
Absolutely. Well, we both have been in the industry for around 4 decades, which is amazing.
Yep.
And back then when CND was founded, my dad was still around. He invented solar nail, the first ever cross-linked polymer resin. And I remember that, hand filing was really the only option because e-files back then were like jackhammers.
Well, yeah, I could understand at the time it was really not appropriate to use the e-file because there wasn't an e-file. There was a Dremel tool or something that was used in the hobby industry or something that came from the dental industry, not necessarily designed for this purpose.
Well, it is so true. And when I think back during those solar nail days, I remember Jack Sperling was our first ever distributor. Probably none of you even know this name, but he was the first ever nail-only distributor in the San Fernando Valley.
Absolutely. I think he was probably the nail-only distributor ever anywhere, the first. I think he also started the very first nail show.
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember that?
I remember that nail show. My mom was there. My dad was there.
Yeah.
I got my sorority sisters and all my brothers and sisters. We were in creative nail design T-shirts and dolphin short shorts, and we
Miss
were
those
in
days.
we were in the good old 80s.
Yeah, right.
And we were roller skating around the convention center, handing out keychains.
I remember that.
Do you remember?
And we used to have lines around the block just to get in that show.
Just to get in, and it
The
was
LA Convention Center.
Yes,
it was huge.
Huge. And that was when the nail industry was really a baby industry. It was just beginning to bubble. And back then, so we were in the garage of my dad's house. What were you doing in the very early days?
Actually, I was working in a machine shop, if you can imagine. And so I got laid off during the time, and I began to work for my then in-laws, who opened a beauty supply out in Simi Valley, California. It was called Tapo Beauty Supply.
You were our distributor.
Exactly, and that's why I become familiar with C&D products way back then.
Wow.
And in fact, at one point, we were your #1 distributor for a short season. I'm sure it was in the very, very beginning.
Very exciting.
Because we used to go traveling up and down what was Ventura Boulevard back in the day, and we would go from side to side, east and west, or north or south, but it was probably 200 salons up there at that time.
Well, Ventura Boulevard was the epicenter of nails. That's where it all began.
Yeah.
And I remember when my dad said, I'm developing solar nail, we need to find out what nail professionals are using. Go and meet some of these nail pros on Ventura Boulevard.
Right.
And it was really funny because I would walk in, I would introduce myself, and they would immediately start pushing all their tools into a drawer like I was some cop or
State
inspector.
board, right?
And because back then, nail professionals were using dental Kadon.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
Methyl methacrylate monomer.
Methyl methacrylate, very, very hard.
Yes.
Very, very hard.
Too hard, not good to breathe.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, isn't that interesting? It was dental Kadon was the product of the day.
Yes, it was.
And then a dentist comes out of nowhere, my dad, and came up with the patented cross-linked formula for solar nail. And when we showed it to Jack Sperling, I think he almost knocked my dad down with enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
Because the nail industry needed something thin and color stable, something flexible and light, and that's what solar nail really kind of turned the nail industry into a safer profession that had protocols as well.
And believe it or not, at that time, Bob Upshaw, who started our company, was actually familiar with your father in the dental industry. And so he had a laboratory and actually started switching over, making a segue from the dental industry tools to what we currently have as an e-file these days that was designed for this purpose.
Wow.
So it's been a long evolution.
What a heritage.
Right?
Both on the liquid and powder side,
And the dental.
the equipment side, and I think it was destiny that we ended up in this unbelievable profession and how it's changed for the better.
Oh, amazing.
Right?
It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Little up and down at times, but absolutely, but the overall, it's been an amazing ride.
Well, do you remember the BBSI?
Oh, yeah.
We would go to Las Vegas.
Twice a year, right?
Twice a year.
One East Coast, one West Coast.
Yep, you're right. But the one in Vegas, we would go in July or in August. It was hot, hot, hot. And I remember at CND, we built our company on parties. Did you ever go to any of our parties?
I went to an amazing party of yours in Chicago.
Oh.
And I won one of your posters there, and I took it and hung it up. When your brother came to visit me, I had it framed, and I brought it out about a year ago. He says, I remember that. You had a piano bar going on there and everything. It was so cool. It was in
Cotton Club. We did
what was
Gotham Glamour in the parking lot of the Las Vegas Hilton.
Yeah.
We did a biker bar. We did every kind of thing. But you know what I found back then? If you could party with someone, then you could do honest business with someone. We did business deals on a handshake.
Right.
We did them because we enjoyed our relationships.
Yeah.
And those really, like, what blessed days, the 80s going into the 90s.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, but now distribution more sophisticated,
Yeah.
manufacturing more sophisticated.
Industries grow. They have to
Yes.
become more professional.
Well, what are we in the nail industry? We're like a $9 billion business.
Hard to imagine, right?
And can
From
you
Duco
imagine?
cement and wrap tape or whatever, the tea bags,
The
right?
tea bags.
To here,
yes, tea bags and nail polish
Right.
back then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know that what also really bonds us is the commitment to really elevating and advancing the state of the industry
Yes.
with improved technology,
Yep.
new innovation, fantastic refined ergonomic equipment. And I know we really share the belief that we really get up every morning to serve the needs of the nail professional. They are our singular inspiration.
Yeah, without them, we don't exist.
You're right.
And so we try to, think like the nail techs do and develop the products that they can actually use that are going to make their life easier, faster, more profitable. We really take to heart what the whole ecology of the nail business is
So you
about.
really listen to them. You
We do.
test everything in the real world.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really do. And
We
try
do.
to pay very close attention to what they need.
Right?
Because
sometimes it's not just the end result, but it's how something feels.
Right.
It's the touch. It's almost as
to feel
though they can
comfortable.
close their eyes and they know if it's a good piece of equipment or a good polymer. It's got to feel right.
Well, that's been it. And the Kupa products have been designed that way so that it feels comfortable. You don't have a lot of vibration, you don't have heat, you don't have all the things that irritate people over the long term. And so we've just tried and strived to make a better product all the time. And we just don't end. As long as I'm around, we'll continue to keep trying.
Well, you've done an incredible job. And, for many years at CND, we weren't convinced e-filing was yet safe. We weren't teaching it or supporting it ourselves.
Right.
And we've really changed our beliefs and our feelings. And I attribute that to you at Kupa, that the fact
Thank you.
that you have refined the equipment, you have created bits that are completely safe for use with proper education. And we've even done some testing on natural nail prep.
Yes.
And we have found that there are less scratch marks if used correctly, the correct bit, than if you go to a hand file.
And believe me, getting the CND blessing on this is amazing. It really is an honor, and we're happy to be working with you guys.
We are excited to work with you, and for all of our viewers, this alliance, this partnership that we have will only continue to grow and flourish.
Great.
So thank you so much for joining us here
My
at
pleasure.
Nailathon. And we have the fabulous Ann Chang with us.
Oh yeah, you guys are in good hands. You're going to be in for a treat because Ann knows what she's been doing. She's worked for me for over 10 years, and she knows the e-file inside out and backwards, and she's been working on a protocol to work with plexigel, so that's even better.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
So now it is my honor to introduce our next presenter, the fabulous Ann Chang. Ann Chang has been a licensed nail professional for more than 15 years, with extraordinary expertise as a bilingual educator, English and Vietnamese, and in e-file leadership. Her nail artistry has been showcased in prestigious trade advertising and marketing campaigns. Ann's success has catapulted her into a very bright spotlight. Her role as creative director for the Nail Tip Show has harnessed her extensive knowledge of the nail industry and maximizes her skill set in education, in content creation, and in vision for all things possible for nail professionals and for the global nail industry. Ladies and gentlemen, let's turn it over to the fabulous Ann Chang.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jan and Richard. I hope you all are doing well and enjoying CND Nailathon. I'm delighted to share with you some basic and fundamental techniques on e-file. Are you a beginner, or maybe you are not as comfortable with e-file yet? Well, today I'm going to demonstrate how to be more efficient with the e-file, and with the e-file, while you can speed up your service times and continue to maintain the integrity of the nails. Today, I prepare some tips and techniques with you on how to perform prepping, rebalancing, removal, and finishing everything with e-file. So let's dive into it. Here I have my lovely hand model. I already prepped some nails, so I'm gonna show you how to do the prepping with this thumb, okay? Let me explain. While prepping, there's a couple tools that I wanna go through with you a little bit first. So my favorite is always a sanding band, of course, that go along with the Easy Off mandrel from Kupa. This mandrel is so easy and convenient, while it allows you to use a sanding band, taking it on and off very easily. And I'm also using the Enhancement Bit. This is a diamond bit, okay? So for those of you with prepping and you're just starting, both of these are very good bits to start with. I mean, the mandrel and the diamond bit here, the enhancement bit. So with the diamond and sanding band, they're like pretty much the same. Think of it as like a sandpaper, while you just need it to smooth. You don't need to scratch up your surface, your nail plate too much. So these are just perfect with the right speed and barely any pressure. You can prep your nails easily. All right, so I'm gonna use this too. Of course, I want to show off a little bit on Kupa Manage Pro Precision Call by Bits, and there's a lot of different bits that you can select, but these are so beautiful because this is Kupa new packaging. It's so lovely. You can push it out and everything you can see there is very nice. All right, so let's dive into this. So with this thumb, I'm gonna start off with, I already wash your hands, sanitize and everything. So now I'm just gonna start with pushing her cuticle. So you wanna push gently All right, you want to push gently. Okay, and then I'm gonna go one step further with a correct and just do the rest of it. Do the lateral side as well. Make sure you taunt the skin and push away all the non-living tissue so you have more real estate to work with. All right. Keep doing that until you're satisfied with what you've done. And then, okay, then you have the option of using the sanding band or the enhancement bit. But I'm gonna show you both. So just in case if you are new to this, you can see how easily you can prep the nails really quickly with these tools. So first, I'm gonna insert enhancement bit, and you always wanna give some room at the neck of the handpiece, all right? And with the low speed of about 4,000 to 5,000 RPM, I'm gonna contour and clean the cuticle. So first, I'm gonna start from the sidewall right here and slowly just going one direction. As you can see, this, you see all the dry skin are coming off. See, that's how you see how you can be thorough with this bit and then continue on the other side. Now, you have the option, you can prep the rest of the nail plate with this. You see how I barely touch the surface? And you just, that's all you have to do. If you need to, you can continue with that and finish the rest of the nail. Let me clean that. Or you can also take a sanding band and do the same. The reason I recommend the sanding band too is that it's disposable after each use. So there is no cleaning or disinfectant needed. So this is another reason why I love the sanding band. I'm using a fine sanding band. Okay, so now with the low speed, again, same thing, very low. I'm gonna continue do the same thing, but you can see it's just as efficient because with the low speed that I'm going, it allows me to go very close to the cuticle area and without doing any damaging to her natural nail plate. And same thing, once I'm done with that, I just lightly clean off the surface. And then if you need to, you can go back and do the rest of it. You see how you can be fast and efficient, and it doesn't take a lot of effort of putting that. So now, once I'm done with that, I can either I shape the nails. I'm gonna use this file, and I'm just gonna shape it a little bit and have the nails ready for either sculpting or with the tip application. All right, and now you look at the result. Look how nice and clean that is. Okay, and then you feel like you can do. You feel like at the beginning you feel like you need to go a couple swipe. Then you can. I would say about 2-3 swipes should be good. All right. So now let's move into finishing. Okay, finishing is really like a must task when you performing a rebalance or any like sculpting or a new set, because you want to sculpt with a brush, but then you also want to contour and refine the shape with an e-file, because I feel like that saves so much time. And time is money in the salon. So today I'm going to start with the 3-in-1 bit. All right, I'm going to take this out. Another tip I want to show you is that you always clean your handpiece before putting a new bit on, okay? So then you don't put dirt back into your handpiece. Always give a little bit room, lock it. Okay, now with zone finishing, If you look at the zone that I'm gonna show you, I want to share with you a couple of tips that you can help yourself so then you can be efficient, and then you can sort of develop a systematic finishing step so then you can move everything quicker and be more efficient with your work. So at first, I'm going to start with the zone 1, which is the side here, and then zone 2, which is mainly I'm taking care the contour of both sides here. Then I'm going to start this area right there. That's 3. And the cuticle is zone 4. Okay. And then the zone 5, it's just mainly the apex area, right? So that way, when you do this step by step and you have the same system of every finger and on each hand, that way it moves everything a lot quicker. Okay. So then I'm going to take the e-file, and my speed is about 15,000 RPM. Okay. I'm gonna hold her nail, taunt the skin down, and take my bit, anchor this pinky finger, so then your handpiece is steady, and then just go side, like that. The beginning of the bit, go the side of the bit, the middle, go in the middle, but the end, the other side, go to the end of the bit. So for this side, I'm just gonna take this side. So that's zone 2. And zone 3, I'm gonna use the middle of the bit and just bevel that down. All right. From the cuticle, same thing, but it's slightly little different, where you wanna twist her finger slightly towards your left side, so that way you can see where you're going with the cuticle area. From here, from this lateral side, I'm just gonna go straight up and parallel to the nail, okay? And with one direction, I'm just going, all right? And continue doing that until you're satisfied with your cuticle work, okay? And now, whatever left, that's zone 5. Now I'm gonna blend this too. So what I'm gonna do is take the bit, kind of parallel with the nail, place it parallel to the nail, and just go here and blend everything in. So now, everything looks more refined and contour, right? This is, I accidentally put a little bit more on the cuticle area. I'm not gonna worry, because I'm gonna show you how you can buff the entire nail with an e-file as well, okay? And then if you need to, you can also do shortening with an e-file. First thing, when you do shortening, if you just want a straight cut with an e-file, place your e-file almost 90 degrees, but don't keep it there. Slant it about 5 degrees towards you, and then cut straight. It will give you a smooth cut and a straight line as well. You see that? You can do everything with e-file. And then if you want a little bit more oval, all you do is lean your handpiece slightly towards you a little bit more and give that little cut. Just if you want them a little bit more oval, turn it a little bit more towards you, okay? So now let's just say you have everything, do the surface work, and now you are done shortening everything. I'm just gonna clean this. Okay, now you can continue with shaping. Make sure the shape is where you want it. Then, when you want to buff, you don't need to take a new buffer. All you have to do is take the sanding band that you originally prep her nails with, take the same one, put it in your handpiece with the low speed, then you can buff everything. Now all you do is take the cuticle, do the cuticle work, and now you see with really low speed and light pressure, you see how I can buff everything out and blend that cuticle area very easily and much closer to her cuticle without damaging her nail plate. And now you can refine the shape, and that's it. You do that until you're happy with all all 10 fingers, all right? So I hope that helped. That really speed up your service, guys. Okay, so now let's move on to the next task of the service. So what you do, rebalancing, right? So now, let's say you have a client and they come back in and then you have to rebalance. So a lot of time, whether you have acrylic or gel, or in this case, I already applied the Plexi gel. So now, let's just say she has color on. The reason I didn't want to have color so you can see, let's just say that's the growth of the nail plate, right? So for rebalancing, it's really quick. If you can just take an e-file, I'm gonna go back to the 3-in-1. This is a medium bit, okay? This is a medium bit, all right? So I'm gonna show you how to bevel it down. You wanna bevel the product, remove the gel polish and the product up to 85%. And to be safe and efficient, all you have to do is take the bit parallel to the nail and then just start from one end. I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna start my left side and just slowly, at the beginning of the tip of the nail, I'm go one side. As I'm moving towards to the middle, I'm using the middle of the bit. And as I'm going towards this side, I'm using the end of the bit. So this way, you are utilizing the entire bit. So you're not wasting the bit by just using the top of the bit, all right? And then you keep doing that until you have taken about 80% of the nail. And I just want to show you how quickly you can bevel this down and it's safe and efficient. And then if you need to take down the cuticle as well, so just top the bit one side, the lateral side, and the middle of the bit is in the middle of the nail, and the end of the bit on the other side of the. So now I have beveled 80% of the nail, and I'm gonna leave it at that, and then I'm gonna refine everything with a sanding band and prep the cuticle area until I'm done with all fingers. Then I can continue with my rebalance step with the product. So as you can see, just couple swipe down the e-file down towards you. You can see it's safe, and then how you can see how efficient it is to bevel down the product. So like I said, if you want to, you can also take the same sanding band, okay, and then do the rest of the prepping. Just quickly, you can do this, okay? You see how now with the sanding band, you can clean the cuticle area and blend that growth with the product to the natural nail plate. So then everything is nice and clean and seamless. So then the nail is ready for enhancements, any type of enhancement that you continue to apply on. You see how this way is nice and clean and efficient. So let the machine do all the work for you, right? So that's how I do that. So now let's jump into removal. I know a lot of people are a little bit intimidated with the removal because I get it. You know, taking the time to remove everything with the e-file, the speed and the pressure is a little bit intimidating because just something that you just don't get used to, and the nail is so tiny and delicate, so we don't want to do any damaging. But with enough practice and maybe a little bit of education, you do this in no time. All right, so I'm gonna change my bit to this Typhoon bit. All right, I'm using a coarse. Anytime when you do any debulking or removal, I highly recommend you to use coarse or extra coarse, all right? Because it's just more efficient and speed up your service as well. So let's just say this one nail right here, I'm gonna do removal, okay? So you can see there, I have a very nice clean nail right there. So for removal, I would recommend you guys to use the speed slightly a little bit higher, just so that you need that speed to shave down the product, okay? So what you wanna do is, if you look at the e-file, let me go through the speed a little bit, just in case some of you out there are new to are new with the e-file. So when you look at the e-file, when you purchase one, the company will let you know what's the RPM on the e-file, right? So let's just say the average is from 20,000 to 35,000 RPM. In this case, I'm using ManiPro Passport, the Phantom from Kupa. So it has 35,000 RPM. So what I'm gonna do is, for removal, you always wanna turn down the dial. This is on and off button, but also the dial button to know the speed. So there is about half, I would say between 15, 16, 17,000 RPM. But with the removal, I wanna go speed a little bit higher, right? So you need that force to shave down the product. Because if you go lower, then you have to put pressure to do the shaving, and that pressure create heat, and your client will be uncomfortable. So when in doubt, with E5 mostly, I would highly recommend speed up a little bit. Okay, so let's just say I'm using about 18 to 20,000 RPM, and with the coarse bit, okay, I'm gonna shave down the product. Well, first of all, anytime for removal, I highly recommend you to cut down the length that you want. Okay, I usually just cut down the length. That way you don't waste your time removing everything. All right, I'm just gonna shorten the nail a little bit. All right. Okay, then I'm gonna use a typhoon bit, and then for safety, for removal, same thing. You want the bit parallel to the nail. All right. Taunt the skin down, because that way you don't accidentally hit to the skin of the skin, and then anchor your pinky so your handpiece can be steady. And then from this side, same thing. I'm taking just one swipe at a time and keep moving towards you. Okay, so keep doing that until you take down about 90% of the nail. So that way you can either soak the rest of it, or I can show you how you can minimize that with E5 as well. Let me do this so then you can see. And you see, with this direction that I'm going, you're not gonna have around the world kind of motion where the bit is not, turning around the nail. If you do it this way, it's a lot more efficient and it's safe for you and your client. So keep that in mind. All right. So there, I'm doing a little slow because I want you to see my motion when I'm doing this, so you can see it's safe. So when you practice, just take a little time. You don't have to rush, because I know when you just, at the beginning of this, you can be a little intimidated with just how you hold the handpiece, how the speed is going, and the pressure. I'm not putting any pressure, guys. I'm not doing that at all. All I do is just very gentle touch. I'm just guiding my bit, but the machine do all the work for me. So now I can see I debulked a lot of it off already, almost like 90% of it already. So now with this, I can even cut down slightly even more. You see it? You can see it's very thin already to her natural nails. I'm just gonna contour a little bit on the cuticle area. But I'm not quite there at the natural nail yet because I can see. Okay, so let me clean that up so you can see the rest of the nail. So then you can see that I didn't really go too close. Okay, how's that? So now, if you feel like this is too close for you to continue with an e-file, then I would say wrap it up with acetone and give it about, I would say no more than 10 minutes and call it a day. Okay, make sure you do that with both sides of the hands. But let's just say if you want to continue taking it off with an e-file, what you can do is take the sanding band, but I would recommend a medium sanding band. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the bit, okay? I'm gonna taking the medium sanding band here. I pretend I have a medium. I am using the fine, but actually medium is fine. I mean, a fine is fine because her nail is pretty thin. I did take down a lot already, so, but I would rather have you use a medium because I feel like medium, it gives you a little coarse to kind of shave off the leftover product. So what you wanna do is continue, and then you prep at the same time, okay? You prep at the same time with this bit. So you actually debulking with the sanding band and also prepping. So then that way, you're doing both at the same time, and you can see why I favorite e-file, because you can do a lot with an e-file, and you kind of like multitask with this. I'm gonna do a little bit more, but I'm gonna stop and show you that I actually did take a lot off everything to the natural nail plate without damaging her nail bed. I mean nail plate. Okay, so let me clean that up. All right, let me just shape it a little bit so you can see. All right, so now you can start a new set or give her, add more extension for a longer length. I'm just gonna clean the tip a little bit. The tip, I still have a little bit more tiny product. Okay. All right, let me give you, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and let you see the nail. So you can see there is no damaging has been done. And the nail, you can remove that with no time. And that way you can prep everything with an e-file, right? It's so quick and easy. So now I just wanna, let me take a minute to focus on the cuticle area again, because I know when you guys are starting with e-file, I feel like contouring the cuticle area is where people struggle the most. So let me just take one more second and focus on the cuticle area. Let me switch my bit to 3-in-1. Okay, I'm just gonna dust off a little bit. The reason I love this bit because it has the shape of a small barrel and a big barrel, but at the tip of the bit is slightly rounded, very slightly. So then it's not as round as this, because with this round bit is really nice, but it doesn't allow you to get really tight to the cuticle area, right? So with this, I can still do everything that I needed, and I still refine the cuticle area with this top of the bit. So this is one of my favorite bits. And let me show you how you refine the cuticle area. So when you refine the cuticle area, you want to use the speed of at least 15,000 RPM, okay? That way, okay, let me use this finger. All right, so let's just say I just apply the product, Okay, so let me draw it so you can see where I'm going with this. That way you can see it better. So I'm just gonna draw the line. So now you can see that's the cuticle area, right? That way, I kind of want to give you the visual effect of it. Okay, so I'm gonna dial it up about 15,000 RPM, okay guys? And then for cuticle area, first, you wanna hold her finger, use this finger, taunt the skin down, and turn the nail slightly to the left if you're right-handed, okay? And then taking the bit, I'm gonna anchor it with my pinky with, is it called the fulcrum finger? So then you're not vibrating or moving while you're working. So it's more like steady, keep it steady, all right? So what you do, turn the finger, keep it steady, and from here, you go one direction, all right? So then you go up, 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 up. You see how the bit move and how you can refine that area and keep going. Okay, as you're coming towards the middle of the nail, turn this to straight middle. And then from this, keep it parallel. I'm not putting like this. Okay, I'm not anchor it down. If you anchor it down and you put too much pressure there, you can have rings of fire. That's why sometimes if you look at the nail, you see lines after lines because you did it too much pressure and you're pointing the bit down. And if you keep it parallel to the nail and then just go one direction, you can see that you can do that really nicely and without hurting her as well. So as I'm turning to this side, what you want to do is turn the nail, okay? Turn the nail, and then taunt the skin with the thumb, okay? So now, again, keep the bit parallel. You see it? And then you can just start doing that. But you can see on the side view, look at the cuticle area. You can see it's more refined and contour, and you're not hurting your client. So one swipe usually is not good enough. I usually do it 2 to 3 times. So what I'm gonna do, go the same steps. I'm just doing the same thing. Go one direction. Keep the bit parallel to the nail. And moving it. And this way I can do the side wall. Do the cuticle again if I need to, and then just blending that out. Everything nice and even and level. Okay? And then you could do all the finishing, the rest of the nails, then you are done. So as you can see, e-file can be fun and be very efficient once you master the techniques. I do recommend some time to practice, be patient with it, or maybe hopefully you can have opportunity to take the classes with a pro so then they can watch you and show you the right techniques on e-file. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I tried to give you some techniques that you can easily start with an e-file. Couple things on bits. I know there's so many things, so many bits out there, and it's a little bit confusing, but if you're starting out, these are the one that I would recommend it. First, you wanted the 3-in-1 bit. I feel like it's a must-have, and maybe an easy off mandrel. That way you can use it with a sanding band. And like again, I highly recommend fine for prepping, and maybe a medium when you do rebalancing. All right, and you don't have to keep it complicated, but you can also get one of these that is like to clean underneath the nail. Maybe you need one of that if you're beginner, just so then you can have you taking care of the top of the nail, the side of the nail, and maybe even the under under the nail as well. So those two, I feel like is a must-have, and everything else, I guess you just have to play with it. But if you just follow my tips and tricks on how I do the finishing, the cuticle, the rebalance, and the removal, if you just follow that and practice with that, I can assure you in no time you'll be master with e-file. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, if you need more extra help, you can also visit Kupa TV on YouTube or the Narrative Show. We do have a variety videos that you can watch and kind of practice with the tips that we provided. Hopefully you can master this as well. All right, so don't be scary. Just don't be scared with the e-file. Like I said, you can be intimidated with it, but invest in a good handpiece. And a good e-file, and remember to protect your handpiece. Okay, guys. This is very important here. Let me take a couple more minutes just to emphasize how you can take care of your handpiece. Okay, guys. The first key that I already told you about is when you changing bit, be sure always clean your handpiece before you changing bit. Like I said, the reason why you want to dust everything off so then you don't push in the dust that you created back into the handpiece. Because inside here, we have a lot of tiny, small part to keep it working. So in order to keep it for a long time and working for a long time, you have to keep everything clean. All right. I highly recommend you have regular maintenance on it. I would say between 6 months to a year, depend how busy you are. Once a year is good if you're not as busy, but if you're really busy nail tech, I highly recommend 6 months. That way you can keep this machine for life. Seriously, it will last you for a long time. Just keep it clean, keep it simple, maintain it, dust it off, really dust it off, and keep it maintenance once a year at least, so then you can have for life. All right, guys. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope you found these tips are useful. Again, practice on yourself, maybe on your loved ones. Maybe start with your sister, your mother, and then your boyfriend, your spouse, and then maybe well, start with yourself first. I would say start with yourself first, because then I want you to take the time to really get the feel of it. Because when you work on someone else first, you don't know how that feels, the sensation of it on your natural nails. So practice on yourself slowly, okay? You don't have to purchase a lot, just like I said, with the Enhancement Bit, the sanding band, and maybe the 3-in-1 like I have shared today. These are really good to start with, so then you can just practice with the tips that I just provided. That way you can be more confident with e-file. All right, guys, thank you so much. Check out Kupa or the Nail Tip Show for more info. All right, guys, have an amazing day. Thank you for tuning in. Bye, guys.